disposal. There we go. Yeah, if you have any questions, we're sure you're gonna. They're all important. Please don't hold them back. But we might ask you if we get too many questions to make to you can put them in the chat. If you want to ask them in person, feel free to do that. But we're going to try to answer as many as we can on the back end of the presentation so that we can make sure we get through everything. And most likely, most of what we're going to cover, you'll ask what we're already going to cover anyway. But do not let that hold you back from asking questions. So that aside, I'm going to just quickly turn it over to the others and just kind of let them introduce themselves and how. So yeah, I'll be quiet and let them go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Noah. I'm one of the directors at the Kahuna and Nalu camp at camp. I grew up going to camp. Eric is actually my dad. This is a family business, so I was born into the camp, went as a camper my whole life, became a counselor, and then eventually a director. So I've really been here my whole life, but I think this is going to be my sixth or seventh year as a director, and I'm so excited to meet you all this summer.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Abby. This will be my seventh year working at camp, and I'm currently our Kihi Camp director. So, if you have a camper between the ages of 4 and 6, we will be spending a lot of time together this summer. So, looking forward to it, and thank you all for being here.
And hello, everybody. My name is Josh. If you think you're seeing double, that's because Noah over there is my identical twin brother. Much like him, I'm Eric's son, and I grew up at the camp ever since I was 4 years old. I went to the Kiki camp. Uh,
Eric,
well, yeah, he thinks
it's
it's a
just
weird thing to
odd to
call him
hear
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Dad. And so I've spent 20 years now at the camp, and I've been a director for 7. And the summertime is my favorite time of the year because I get to spend it at the beach at Aloha Beach Camp, and I can't wait for this upcoming summer as well.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you guys. Okay, so um, let's just talk a few minutes here about the history of the camp and how it we started and who runs it and all that and how it came to be. So back in 1999, this is going to be like our 25th, 26th year consecutively, except for COVID. We didn't run in 2020. But other than that, every summer we operate this beach camp program for kids. And it's an aquatic sports program where we hope children can learn to teach them, everything's instructional. So it's like learning how to surf, enjoy the ocean safely, uh, play on the sand, meet new friends, all kinds of things like that. We don't operate on the weekends. It's Monday through Friday, and you can kind of pick and choose any days you want to go. We don't have typical sessions at Aloha Beach Camp. You can come a day here, a day there. Our registration system, we have a registration form, which is kind of looks like a master calendar, 1 day each per each day of the entire summer. It's like 10 weeks, 6 days a week. So 5 days a week for June 16th until August 22nd. And each of those 5 days, you can just pick and choose. I want to come on Monday of this week, but skip 2 weeks and come on Wednesday of that week. And some people do use it like sessions, like kids come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 4 weeks, and that's their summer, like a typical or traditional camp session. Others don't. Others just kind of like the example I just gave, just haphazardly just choose days that work best for their family schedule. So you can sign up anytime you want to. Just while we're on the overview here, we do want to throw in, I just want to kind of touch briefly on the fire situation, which is for our point of, for where we're located in Malibu, we can all rest easy. Thank goodness. There, going to the beach, whether it's with a camp or with your family in the summertime, it's just kind of like what we do right in LA. But this summer is going to be a lot different for many of the beaches along the coast. However, for our Aloha Beach Camp, we're 20 miles north of the fire zone. We are completely unaffected. The heel of the bay is grading the water right now at A+. That's the highest you can get. I'm going to ask I'm going to ask Josh to drop a link. So you're not hearing this just from us, but we use 3-party resources who we check like the air quality every day, the sand quality every day, the water quality every day. So we're completely unaffected and totally safe. Other camps, like there's other beach camps that are besides Aloha Beach Camp that are popular that are taking place like in the Palisades. I'm not going to name any names. You can look them up on your own, but like the LA County and fire is using these other beach campsites as dumping grounds for debris from the fire. But for us, actually, where we're located, this was used as a command station during the fire. So it's completely safe and we're unaffected. But the link that Josh gave you, we sent an email out to families recently the other day. Perhaps you got it, but if you didn't, you get the transcript of the email by clicking on that link, and it'll show you the various government agencies and management agencies that we rely on to give us our information. If it wasn't safe, if your kid's health was at risk, our health was at risk, it would be dangerous in any way, we wouldn't run the camp. We didn't run it in 2020 because of COVID, and we wouldn't do it now if there was any question in any of our minds that there would be some sort of a risk involved in running the program. So we want to make you feel comfortable about that. That's not us talking. That's these third-party professional resources. So that's our message about that. But feel free to ask questions if you have them. Okay. Yeah, so let's move forward. Thank you.
So I can start talking a little bit about our activities at camp. The first component is our aquatic-based activities like ocean swimming and boogie boarding. We do this it varies by program. For our youngest, it's called the Kiki Camp. They have 2 water sessions per day, and a water session typically runs for like 45 minutes or so. Counselors are always accompanying the campers while they're in the water. They'll never be swimming on their own. And for our Kahuna and Nala program, they have 3 water sessions per day. The older kids love going in the water and a little bit more than the Kiki campers. So they have 3 water sessions that typically run for about 45 minutes or so. And at Kiki Camp, during that 3rd session where the older kids would be in the water, they usually have like a specialized activity for that specific day.
Yeah, and so Josh just finished talking about the aquatic activities, and that's a massive part of our program. But the activities and the games going on the sand all throughout the day is a big part of our program too. So, like Josh just said, the Kiki Camp has a big camp-wide activity in the 3rd session, which would be the 3rd water session. But for the Nalu and the Kahuna campers, there's kind of activities going on all throughout the day. So it's a little bit more of an elective-based activity schedule. And a couple of these examples are the dunk tank, lanyard making, shark tooth hunting, capture the flag, water rockets, and more. There's no shortage of activities going on the sand, just as there is in the water.
Yeah, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about our field trips. Well, we are predominantly based at Zuma Beach. 95% of the time we are located at Tower 7 at Zuma Beach. We do have some field trip days. Specifically, we go to Channel Islands Harbor, and on those days we do like kayaking, paddleboarding, pedal boats. They can take boat rides as well. The Kiki campers have activities that they do as well. It's not just older kids. They love to go on the little like motorized boats and take rides around the harbor. They can see like sea animals and things like that. And then it's at Oxnard Beach Park is the name of the park that we go to. And we have a big like barbecue cookout on that day as well. So it's a ton of fun. And then there's always other activities going on there too. We have like a dunk tank and different things going on at the beach or at the beach park, excuse me. So that day's a ton of fun.
Yeah, and then the last bit of activities that I'll talk about here is surfing. So we always say that we are a beach camp that offers surfing, not necessarily a surf camp. We always encourage campers to surf, but we'll never force them. So a lot of parents will get upset with us. They say, hey, I really want my camper to surf, and they didn't surf. Like, what's the deal? We always challenge by choice. So we can definitely encourage them, but we'll never force a camper into doing something that they don't want to do. But that being said, surfing is always a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 counselor with 1 camper. We always start that camper on the sand, teach them the terminology of the board, get them a little bit comfier with the surfboard, and then before we actually get them in the ocean, in the water. So we find that if we teach them on the sand, they feel a little bit more confident and comfortable before we get them in the water. And then for the surfing, most of the time the counselor will actually be holding on and anchoring down on the back of the surfboard. So a lot of campers feel nervous. They feel like the wave's going to crash on top of them. They're going to they're going to fall off and they're going to be scared, but that'll never happen. Our surf instructors are really, really great. I'm one of the surf instructors, not tooting my own horn at all. Josh is a great surf instructor too. We always anchor on the back of it and secure the board so the camper feels super confident and safe on the board.
Can I say one thing real quickly?
Yeah.
I know Abby's gonna go through like a typical day. But I didn't say it. I don't know if you guys did, but we were talking about like the Kiki campers, Kahuna campers, and Nalu campers. If you said this, I'm repeating, but I don't think we said exactly what that meant or what it is. The Kiki campers we're all on the beach at Zuma Beach at Lifeguard Tower 7, like the boys said, but the Kiki campers are the youngest kids. They're like 4 through 7, through 4 through 6, 4, 5, and 6. They're on the right side of Lifeguard Tower 7, on the right side or north. And if this is meaning right, if you're looking at the ocean, the Nalu is like 8 to 10, something like that, and the Kahuna is like 8 to 10, and the Nalu kids are like 9 and over. I think that's what it is, something like that, or 10 and over. But it's 3 different age groups, and they each get like their own canopies and sections of the beach within this Lifeguard Tower 7 area, which we bound off by orange construction cones. Everything takes place within those cones, these 3 separate programs. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
I was
That's
going
a
to say
great
thank
point.
you.
Yeah. I'm sure there were people having questions about that. So Josh and Noah did a great job going over some of the activities we do. This is just a quick overview of what a sample day might look like in terms of the time structure and just kind of how we pack the day with activities. So as you can see in the morning, we do have our bus arrival. If you've checked out our website or if you're already registered or have started the registration process, you might have noticed that we do offer transportation as part of our registration, and that we do have bus stops all over Los Angeles. So our buses do arrive at slightly different times. So we'll wait for everyone to get there. If you're one of the first buses to arrive, campers will get to start with sand activities and things in the morning until that last bus arrives. And then we always start the day with our morning meeting, which is a time where all the directors, counselors, and all the campers that day go over kind of rules, expectations, what's expected at camp, what's happening at camp, just everything that they can expect for that day. And then we'll always start, of course, with sunscreen and what we call bus lines. So before we do any water activities and after every water activity, we always get into our lines by bus so that everyone can take roll, make sure everyone is accounted for. We do this several times throughout the day, as you can see in this sample schedule. So then we'll jump right in with one of our water sessions. So like was mentioned in kind of the description of our activities, these are a time when campers can swim, boogie board, or surf, up to them. If your camper is not big on the water and would rather do a different activity, there will also be other optional activities happening during those sessions. So in this one, it's flag football and arts and crafts. So your camper can choose what they would like to do. And then, as you can see, again, sunscreen, bus lines, and then we'll have a lunch break. And then we would have another one of those water sessions. So similar thing, but you can see that the activities will differ. So again, if your camper started the day by boogie boarding and doesn't want to boogie board again, now they could choose to decorate cookies or do a sandcastle competition. Or if they would prefer to spend the whole day boogie boarding, they can do that too. So that's kind of how the day is broken up. As you'll see, we do this now another time, and then at the end of the day, we finish with the opportunity to change. So we know some campers have a long bus ride ahead. They will have the opportunity to change out of their bathing suits into a dry outfit for the ride home. And then we do end of day snack, and we'll send everyone off for the day. So that's just a little rundown of what a sample day might look like. There we go. And then just for some visuals, these are some of the activities we offer at camp. As you can see, lots of smiling faces and lots of fun to be had at the beach, no matter what age your camper is and no matter what activity we're doing. They're always a blast. All right, Eric, I think this one is you.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I'll take this one. Okay, so who are the camp counselors? So we're pretty fortunate that we have over the year after year, we have a very high percentage of returning staff. So most of them, we say, I think it says 18. Yeah. So the minimum age to be a camp counselor is 18. It used to be 19 because we'll talk about transportation in a moment, but 19 was because we, the staff, drove the buses. This is like 20 years ago. And it was crazy. We would drive the bus in the morning, then be the camp counselors during the camp day, and then be the bus driver again and take the kids home in the afternoon. And that was, as you can imagine, presented a whole number of other issues. So our insurance company said, okay, if you're going to drive the bus also, you have to be 19. But now we don't. We have a professional bus company, but professional drivers that provide the driving services. So 18 is okay as long as they're mature and responsible people. And we it's still kind of unusual because most of the time they're 19 still anyway and above, because we would like them to have 1 year of college. We choose and select camp counselors who are going to be supervising your kids basically on their ability to work with kids, serve as positive role models. What kind of experience that do they have? We hope usually they have more than just babysitting. A lot of them are child development majors in college. They come from everywhere. Many of them go to school out of state, but live in LA. Grew up in LA, and their family homes are in Los Angeles, so they come back and live at home in the summer and work for us during the summertime, and then go back to school in the fall. How it works is, what we'll do is typically have a group interview. We will meet everybody in person, applicants, is what I mean when I say everybody. And like, let's say 20 different applicants, 10 boys and 10 girls, or whoever. Sometimes it's 20 girls, sometimes it's a mix of everybody. And then the four of us or others will go and meet these 20 people and ask them to, get to know them. And then perhaps out of that 20 initial batch of 20, 3 or 4, if they can convince us that they're worthy of it, we will ask them to come for a second interview and meet other people one-on-one for a second interview on our staff. Then if they clear that interview, we will check their references, do a background check through the FBI and all, and the sex abuse registry, United States sex crimes registry. If everything's okay, then they can go. Then we have an extensive pre-camp training program where they get CPR certified and all this other stuff. And Abby will probably talk about that. But that's generally how we do it. Part of the training is to become a lifeguard. I said CPR, first aid, and all of that. So those are like all these people that you see here, these 4 guys, they work year after year. And the one in the orange shirt, he worked here for like 3 years, took a year off, and now he wants to come back again this summer because he'd rather be a camp counselor than be out there in the real world, I guess. He's great. Okay. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. All right. So with that, we're going to start getting into what I'm sure is on most of your minds and is probably what a lot of parents come here to hear and have questions about, is just different safety scenarios and covering what our safety looks like at camp. So the biggest one that we get asked about is obviously ocean supervision. So we are a beach camp. We do go in the ocean. I know that can seem daunting for parents, but we like to really reassure everyone that, as Eric mentioned, this camp has been running for 26 summers, and we can assure you that if we did not have this on lock as a beach camp, we would not be operating. So we are extremely safe with our ocean supervision. We do have our own dedicated Zuma Beach lifeguard that is assigned specifically just to our camp. So if you've seen Zuma Tower 7 during the summer, they are just there specifically for us, the lifeguards in that tower. And we are also directly next to Zuma Beach lifeguard headquarters. So we have an additional level of kind of lifeguard supervision there just in case. We are directly next to the headquarters for all of Zuma for the lifeguards. And then if you can envision with our ocean times, we do what we call making the box or the fun square if you're at Kiki Camp. So our counselors will stand, if you can envision, with their backs to the ocean with all of the campers in front of them. So there will be like a line of counselors in the back, and then a line of counselors along each side so that all campers will be essentially contained within this box surrounded by certified lifeguards. And campers will also not be allowed past them ever, and to a point where campers are not able to stand comfortably. So they're never allowed far enough into the ocean where they're reliant solely on swimming capabilities. The only exception with that is surfing, but again, surf instructors and campers will be in a one-on-one ratio if that is the case. So just for swimming and boogie boarding, we'll always be in a position where they're able to stand. And for Kiki campers, that looks even shallower. We know that Kiki campers, and I'm very familiar at this point, are not necessarily water safe yet. Many are learning how to swim. Many are just starting that adventure or haven't started it yet. So we're definitely never in a position where they're reliant on any swimming ability whatsoever, always 2 feet on the ground when it comes to the ocean. Okay. Should I just keep going on all this, or does anyone want to cover anyone?
Go for it.
Am I talking too much? Okay. Okay, and then first aid and emergencies. So again, we do have our own beach lifeguards. So if anything more severe was happening, we would always defer to them where first aid is concerned. They are also paramedics typically, but all of our staff is first aid, CPR, and lifeguard certified. So anything basic, we are all equipped to handle. We have extensive first aid supplies with us at the beach. We bring cargo vans every morning that are supplied with every first aid thing imaginable. So we've really dealt with it all. We have a specific first aid canopy. So if it's something as simple as your camper is tired from swimming in the ocean, had too much sun, we will get them in that canopy drinking some water in the shade on a cot. So we're ready and well equipped for first aid situations and emergencies, again, because we are fortunate enough to be very close to the lifeguard headquarters and as well as the sheriff department. So they have a pop-up sheriff department in our lot as well. So anything emergency related, we have a lot of extra personnel ready to go. Another big question we get is regarding bathroom supervision. So we are at Zuma Beach. Many of you might be familiar with Zuma Beach, many of you might not, but they are public beach restrooms. Typically, we take up enough of the beach that there are very few people near us and we'll be using other bathrooms, but they are still considered public restrooms. So we're very specific about how we train staff with bathroom supervision and our bathroom policies. We always say that there are 3 things every camper needs to go to the bathroom.
Shoes, buddy, counselor.
Yes, shoes, buddy, and a counselor. So campers will always go to the bathroom with a staff member and with another camper. So they will never be able to go there alone. And yeah, always shoes, buddy, counselor.
Shoes, buddy, counselor.
Yes, and that takes up a significant portion of our staff training, just going over making sure that that's really important to everyone. And then just general ratios in terms of staff to camper ratios. As we mentioned, surfing is always one-on-one. On the beach, it just varies a little bit by age group. So for our Kiki campers, we know they might need an extra helping hand. So we say that that ratio is generally about a 5 or 6 to 1 ratio. And then for our older campers, it's generally about a 7 or 8 to 1 ratio of campers to staff members. And then we also always have our leadership staff as an additional eye. And of course, as we mentioned a few times now, that wonderful lifeguard who is responsible for our camp as well. All right. Did I miss anything?
I think that was pretty thorough. Yeah.
Okay.
Josh, Eric, anything? Good.
Sorry, no, I think you guys are doing great. I'm answering all the chats.
Can everybody see can
Yeah.
everybody see it when you answer, or just the person that asked?
Yeah, everybody can see it.
Everybody,
And
okay.
apologies if we're doubling down on that because I'm sharing the screen currently, so we can't see the chat right now. So
Oh,
if we're
okay.
asking the same questions, we apologize, and we'll try and get to them at the end. But okay, we'll keep going.
Yeah, I could talk about this a little bit. So what to bring to camp, all your daily beach and camp necessities. So a packing list will be in the family handbook that you guys will all receive. But I would say if I can hammer home a couple things, really just is a lunch, a towel, and maybe a refillable bottle, a bo water bottle, excuse me. We always have jugs of water at camp that are accessible to all the campers throughout the day. Obviously, the beach does get pretty hot. Here we go. We're going to the packing list here. Yeah, so I'll jump over to here. So what to wear to camp? Obviously, we are on the beach, so definitely a bathing suit is encouraged. I'm sure a lot of the campers are going to plan on swimming in the ocean, so definitely a bathing suit is important. On your first day, on your camper's first day of camp, they will receive an Aloha Beach Camp t-shirt. It might look a little something like this. We try to change the color year after year, but they will always receive it on the first day of camp. They can definitely wear that if they'd like. And with the t-shirt, they will also receive a rash guard. So some campers elect to bring, I'm blanking on the name.
Wetsuits.
Wetsuits, thank you very much. A lot of campers will bring a wetsuit, but we will provide a rash guard. So I just wear a rash guard. That definitely keeps me warm in the water. But if your camper would like a wetsuit, they can definitely bring one too. Other than that, a lunch is really the most important thing. So everything at camp is provided, the boogie boards, the surfboards, everything. The only thing that we ask that your camper bring is a lunch. So we do have a dedicated lunchtime that all the campers and counselors sit down and eat together. We always eat on our towels underneath the canopies with the refillable water bottle. So definitely bring that, definitely bring a lunch. Other than that, a towel to dry off after they swim in the water and sit on, and they'll be good to go. Other than that, some accessories, hat, sunglasses, they'll be good. Anything else? Maybe a change of clothes if they'd like to change at the end of the day. We do have a dedicated time to change clothes. Thank you for the wetsuit assist. Could not get there.
I read your mind. All right, Josh, are you answering the chat or do you want to talk about sunscreen at all?
Yeah, I can talk about sunscreen at Nalu and Kahuna.
Perfect.
Yeah. So at Kiki Camp, the younger kids don't put on their own sunscreen because that kids are very little. They're between 4 and 6. Is that right? Yeah. So the counselors would apply the sunscreen for them. But Noah and I run the Nalu and Kahuna camp, and we do give them the independence to put on their own sunscreen. They are a little older. They're very capable of doing so, but it's always going to be supervised. We want to make sure that they get all over the face. They're very thorough, and we're gonna apply sunscreen like 4 to 5 times per day. We do it right when we get there in the morning, right after our first water session, after lunch, after the second water session, after the third session. There's never enough sunscreen at camp. We like to call it fun screen to get the kids excited about that. So the older kids will be able to apply their own sunscreen, but it's always going to be supervised. And for the Kiki campers, the same thing. It's going to be like 3 to 4 or 5 times per day, and the counselors will apply it for them.
Perfect. And then we do always have extra sunscreen on hand at camp if someone forgets it, but we definitely ask for your assistance with this in sending your preferred sunscreen with your camper. Yeah, that's great. And then this is just a small note, but as Eric mentioned, we are day-by-day enrollment, very flexible scheduling, and we do get a lot of questions about kind of how that works. And just generally speaking, let's say you pick, 4 days for the summer that you want to send your camper, and let's say, one day your camper's sick, or you decide to take a last-minute family trip, or whatever it may be that your camper can't come, you are able to reschedule your days throughout the summer. So you can absolutely change them if needed and move it to an alternative date throughout the summer. So we are very flexible in our scheduling. And then back to Eric for transportation.
That's his favorite.
Oh, yes, I love transportation. I just remembered something when Josh was talking there about the sunscreen. Once in a while, I remember this now. Some campers will say, well, my mom says I don't have to put it on. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a struggle. My mom said I don't have to. So if you don't, we don't sort of understand that position, but if that's how it is in your household, please send that, tell us that in writing beforehand so we know if you have any restrictions like that. We won't ask them to wear sunscreen. Oh, okay, just that. So that's for you too, Noah. You need to wear sunscreen. Noah doesn't like wearing sunscreen.
I got burned today.
Okay.
Wasn't good.
We have, as a benefit of enrollment for every, I remember seeing a question about the buses earlier in the presentation here. Everybody who signs up gets a seat on the bus. We have about five bus routes that are all traveling simultaneously in the morning, picking up kids and bringing them to camp, and then they all leave in the afternoon to go home around the same time too. So the way that they leave in the afternoon, though, they'll leave the beach. Once the kids are on the bus, the counselors ride the bus with the kids. In addition to the bus driver, we use a company it's now called First Student. It was previously Tumbleweed Transportation. Maybe you're familiar with that. You see those buses on the road sometimes. A lot of the buses still say Tumbleweed on them. We've used this company for since we started 26 years ago. And it's not only the same bus company, but the same bus drivers year after year after year. So they know the bus routes, they know the kids, they know the counselors. The counselors, let's go back to the morning. I was talking about the afternoon from Zuma departure, but one particular bus will pick up in a given area. And each bus will make 1, 2, 3 stops tops in a particular area. And then there's four other buses doing the same thing. The bus will be we might say to you, okay, your bus stop in Hancock Park is at 8:15 a.m. Well, the bus will get there like at 8:10, something like that. The counselor will be outside the bus checking the campers in. They will have a roster of the kids that come to camp that day, because remember, Abby just recalled that we go, you can sign up day by day. So sometimes you will see the same kids coming every day, but other times, just as commonly, you have new kids coming each day. So the counselor will have a new roster each day, so he or she knows who to look for as far as campers go attending camp that day. They get checked in, they get on the bus, and then they move to we're way oversimplifying this, but this is kind of how this works. Then they move on to the next bus stop. And after they've picked up their 2 or 3 stops, and these are big, open space, no traffic, reduced traffic, like parking lots, like a huge museum parking lot, or a school parking lot that's not running summer school, where there's no other traffic around, okay, in the summertime. So that bus picks up their 3 stops, and each stop is maybe a mile apart from each other, pretty close. And then they go to the beach, and then they arrive at the beach. And the pickup time in the morning is between 8 and 9 a.m. And the afternoon drop-off is between 4 and 5, 3:30 and 4:30, something like that, depending on where you live. Getting back to even though in the morning all the buses are going at the same time, in the afternoon we leave the beach, which is what I was just going to touch on, sort of staggered. The buses leave staggered, so timing. So the buses that are the kids on the buses that are closest to the beach will leave last, and the ones traveling furthest away, like Hancock Park, for example, will leave the beach first. And similar to the morning, in the afternoon, the kids get onto the bus. They're all in lines on the sand. We say, okay, it's time for bus lines. We take roll, and then the counselor of the bus will walk the kids into the parking lot with the camp director, making sure that there's one counselor in the front of the line, one counselor in the back. There's it's just us in the summertime. And then they get onto the bus. We take roll. We tell the bus driver, okay, it's safe to go. And then we take off for the afternoon route. So you don't pay extra for transportation. Sometimes parents say to us, could you give us a discount if we don't use the bus? Unfortunately, we can't, because the bus is just included as part of the enrollment, the fee that you pay. And the bus company that we use doesn't give us a discount we pay the same whether or not the bus is full. Whether this bus might have 30 seats on it, if 30 kids are on the bus, or one kid is on the bus, we have to pay the same thing. They don't give us a discount if we don't fill the bus. Now, as part of the registration process, when you sign up for camp, there's going to be a section on the registration form. It's an online form where you just kind of find the available bus stops that we offer. It's a drop-down list, and you choose, okay, I want this stop in the morning and this stop in the afternoon. There's like 20 of them, or 25. And I think earlier today we posted a new, maybe I can't, okay, there's a link to it, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'll send that link.
Okay,
We'll send some of the links that we discussed at the end of the meeting
beautiful.
so that everyone has them on hand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we updated the transportation list with times and where you could choose a stop and all that. If you ever have to switch a stop, like on a given day, well, let me say this. If like, let's say your camper makes a friend at camp and they want to go home on a different bus to have a play date with the camper in the afternoon, we can always accommodate that if there's all the buses have seatbelts also, I should say. But any bus changes and things like that, or you're going on you want to use a different bus tomorrow, or you want to go home with a friend on a different day, or they had a sleepover and they're going to be at a different bus tomorrow, please communicate that information through the camp office, not the counselor on the bus, or don't just tell us, because we take attendance for camp. The master daily attendance for camp is done on the bus, so we know exactly how many kids to expect, how many camp counselors need to be there that day to meet the ratio requirements for campers to counselors and all of that stuff. So, oh yes, this is a great thing here. You can definitely change your bus stop in the portal. We have a video tutorial on how to do that. That'd be beautifully made. And I think that's it. Do the buses look like that? Whew, truthfully, we have to say no. Yeah, that's just for beach, happy beach thing. They're yellow school buses. They will always say, here's another thing. They will always say Aloha Beach Camp on the bus. So sometimes, like I used that Hancock Park example a few minutes ago, and other bus stops everywhere. In many cases, several camps will also providing transportation. We all use the same bus stop. So it's very important that your camper doesn't get on. Our counselor will triple check with you, but we want to make sure your camper can get on the correct bus. So make sure that where you see this thing that says beach camp with the surfboard hanging over the top of it, on our buses it'll have our logo and it'll say day camp at the beach, Aloha Beach Camp, with our phone number and everything. So you want to make sure that you don't get on the Cali Camp bus if you're expecting to go to Aloha Beach Camp that day. Vice versa. Okay.
Okay, I think that's our presentation. If we want to just jump into questions maybe, or whatever you would like to do, Eric.
Does anyone